All right, do you guys know what this is? I think you do. Dongles, dongles, dongles. Do you hate them as much as I do? Or are you one of those people who likes to plug stuff into stuff that plugs into other stuff? Anyway, in today's video, I will talk about the history of USB and the upcoming USB 4.0 format and what we can expect from it. Will it solve our dongle and transfer speed issues? Before we get started, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you for watching. Okay, let's go. So USB ports have been helping us transfer data and connect stuff since 1995. To make the math easy for you, it's been 25 years. Of course, back then, we could only transfer about 12 megabits per second, but it allowed us to connect with all the devices, and we picked up the familiar port we struggle to plug things into today. Apple helped continue the ball rolling with USB in 1998, releasing the iMac G3, the first computer to use USB as a standard feature, and even using it to connect the keyboard and mouse. So the year 2000 was an equally eventful year in the world of USB, as it made its way into USB 2.0 standard, which added some of the vital features we use it for today. USB now offered power delivery, which meant it could be used to charge gadgets, but only at about 500 milliamps. This is also the year USB flash drives came around, but back then they only held around 8 megabytes. Not much changed for a while, other than USB flash drives gradually getting more and more capacity, until finally in November of 2008, USB 3.0 was announced. It launched with a 5 gigabyte per second transfer speed, 150 milliamps charging for lower power devices, versus 100 milliamps for USB 2, and 900 milliamps or 4.5 watts for high power super speed devices. So not too bad. The first motherboards that supported USB 3 were released in 2010, by the way. And as I'm sure you know, the way to differentiate USB 2.0 from USB 3.0 devices is by a blue insert on the ladder. In 2013, the USB group updated the USB 3 standard, as it was enhanced to now include USB 3.1 Gen 1, called SuperSpeed, with 5 gigabits of data over one lane, and USB 3.1 Gen 2, designated as SuperSpeed Plus, with 10 gigabits of data over one lane. Now, I'm not going to bore you with how things changed, as it's actually pretty confusing, but in 2017, we ended up with the following formats and naming convention for what is now called USB 3.2. So we now have USB 3.2 Gen 1 by 1, 5 gigabits per second data rate over one lane, USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 1 with 10 gigabits per second data rate over one lane, USB 3.2 Gen 1 by 2 with 10 gigabits per second data rate over two lanes, and then we also have USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2 with 20 gigabits per second data rate over two lanes. Confusing, right? Last year USB 3.2 came out and USB 4.0 was announced, but we won't be seeing it at least in early 2021, and it'll probably be a little longer before we see many devices using it. These different levels of USB determine the data transfer speeds they're capable of, while the ports themselves can be different. Now, let's talk about the physical shape of the major USB ports. There are many of them, but I want to focus just on the ones that are familiar to you. USB-A, for example, is probably what you think of when you hear the word USB, and is the standard rectangular shape that always takes a few tries to get in the port correctly. It is used for data transfer and power delivery. There's also mini USB, a sort of a 3D trapezoid-shaped USB port. It's not used as much anymore, if not at all. I haven't seen any devices recently. Instead, most companies opt for a micro USB, the small square-shaped port commonly used in the Android phones, but even they are switching to USB-C, and as well as smaller items like Bluetooth speakers, for example. Now, let's talk about the USB-C format. So in 2014, the USB-C format came into play. USB-C is actually still using USB 3.1 technology, but it uses a new connector and it has a new port. USB-C is somewhat of a newer kid on the block that has power delivery, video, audio, and data transfer capabilities. But it's going to be pretty mainstream, and it's already kind of becoming mainstream. Now, something I left out until now is Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is a port for speedy data transfer developed by Intel, and most devices use it with the USB-C connectors. This can create a lot of confusion. Why? Because while you could, of course, go and dig through your closet for your laptop's box to see the specs, without doing that or some model number Googling, you don't know if you have Thunderbolt. Sometimes a USB-C port means it's Thunderbolt, but sometimes a USB-C port is just a regular USB 3 port. Now, what gets even more confusing is how one device can have both a Thunderbolt compatible port and a non-Thunderbolt compatible port in its I/O, even though they look identical. So, what's being done to clear up this confusion? Intel is coming to the rescue and has announced that they are contributing Thunderbolt to the development of USB 4.0 with the USB Promoter Group, the organization that decides the industry standard on USB and is composed of Apple, HP, Intel, Microsoft, and a few other companies. So it appears all USB 4.0 devices will support Thunderbolt automatically. Whenever we get to a point where almost every popular device is supporting USB 4.0, managing cables and figuring out which one you need to buy is going to be extremely easy. The benefit to the industry standard being USB-C Thunderbolt is that the cable alone can transfer data, power, audio, and video, essentially giving us an opportunity to replace USB-A, HDMI cables, and most things in between, and all at once. The new USB 4.0 and Thunderbolt combo will be able to transfer data at 40 gigabytes per second, which is both great, but also could be disappointing depending on what you're currently using. So let me explain. See, even the fastest USB as of right now is only 20 gigabytes per second, which makes USB 4.0 quite an upgrade. Although it's exactly the same speed as existing Thunderbolt 3 ports, so if you're already using those every day, you might not notice much of a difference. Intended to be future-proof, the new standard will of course be backwards compatible all the way back to USB 2.0, but you have an old port in the shape of USB-A, for example, you'll need a USB-C to USB-A adapter. So sorry, just another dongle. So what can we expect? I think we can expect USB as a whole to end up at the peak of its existence, even if it does take a while. Once most popular devices have gone the way of USB 4, very rarely will you have to worry about not having the right charger for your phone or the right cord to upload the pictures from your camera. A world where all USBs are created equal sounds like a tech paradise to me, and dongle-free paradise at that. And with that being said, let's wrap up today's video. Hopefully you found this information on USB helpful and maybe even a little bit entertaining. USB 4 will be very cool, and I can't wait for it to become mainstream. So you've heard what I had to say. Now what about you guys? What are your thoughts about the upcoming USB 4.0? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching this video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.